tell you how the new information week began. Coming up on Freedom. This is our time in the studio. Mikhail Baranos, hello? The Russian army launched 156 drones of various types at Ukraine on Sunday night into Monday. 110 of them were Shaheds. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, the Russians attacked from 5 directions. The defenders of Ukraine's skies neutralized 135 targets. 16 hits were recorded at 11 locations. Today in Kherson, the Russians killed a civilian woman. The occupying forces shelled the Dnipro district of the city. A 79-year-old woman suffered fatal injuries. She became the second victim of Russian shelling in the past 24 hours. This was reported by the head of the Regional Military Administration, Alexander Prokudin. According to him, the main targets of the Russian army were critical and social infrastructure, as well as residential areas. The Russians also attacked the capital with drones. In one of Kyiv's districts, a fire broke out after a drone strike. The blast wave shattered windows in nearby residential buildings and in 2 educational institutions. Cars parked nearby were also damaged, according to the local administration. There is no information about any casualties. A private house was destroyed, and 5 more were partially damaged in the Odesa region. After the overnight Russian attack, 2 people were injured there. More than 30,000 families were left without electricity. Several settlements in the region, as well as one of Odesa's neighborhoods, have lost power. The energy company says that repair crews are working around the clock, but due to significant infrastructure damage, it'll take time to eliminate the consequences of the shelling. According to local authorities, heating and water supply for residents have already been restored. More than 600 invincibility points have been set up in the region, providing heat, electricity, and communication. Russia continues its systematic destruction of Ukraine's civilian infrastructure. Last night, the Russian Federation's army attacked energy facilities in 7 regions at once. According to the relevant ministry, as a result of the strikes, civilians were left without electricity, not only in Odesa, but also in Zhytomyr, Sumy, Kharkiv, Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, and Chernihiv regions. The agency noted that energy workers began emergency repair operations during the night. However, the situation is complicated by severe frost and snowy weather.
Odesa and Zhytomyr regions. Repair work is ongoing to restore power to consumers. In Chernihiv region, a piece of energy infrastructure was damaged as a result of Russian shelling. A number of settlements have been left without power. Restoration work on the power supply will begin as soon as the security situation allows. In Kyiv, in the region, thanks to the prompt actions of energy workers who worked almost around the clock, a key stage of emergency repair work has been completed.
For almost a week now, residents of one of Kramatorsk's districts have been living without heat, without heating. Last week, Russian forces dropped a Fab 500 aerial bomb on one of the city's energy facilities. In addition, several apartment buildings were damaged. More details about the attack and how Kramatorsk is dealing with its aftermath are in our report.
On January 6th, Russian forces destroyed a critical infrastructure facility with an aerial bomb, which supplied heat to one of Kramatorsk's districts. The explosion was so powerful that the shockwave blew out all the windows and doors in the nearby houses.
It was really strong, you know? This time it felt like, I don't know, it seemed like this was the strongest one yet. Then, in July, in 2022, when I left, there was also a terrifying strike. Everyone's windows here were blown out, but nothing like this, where even the frames were ripped out.
Svetlana's house was damaged a bit less than those closer to the epicenter of the blast. Even so, the windows in her apartment were blown out of the walls. The woman somehow managed to cover up the gaps. And since she has autonomous heating at home and it's warmer than in other apartments, she invites her neighbors over to warm up.
The neighbors invite me, saying, "Come slump here." Even though it's cold, the heat just blows out through the cracks. I checked today. Well, of course I'm trying to save gas. I checked, and it was 16 degrees. I thought, oh, yesterday it was 22. With each passing day, well, the house is cooling down, so every day it gets colder and colder.
All the city's public utility services are still working on site. They're trying to seal up the broken windows and doors as quickly as possible.
Come in here. We took a look at the kitchen. The guys boarded it up for us. From some company or other.
Unos.
Yeah, there are 2 separate burners operating on a very low gas setting, and also an electric heater is present. We close the kitchen door from the hallway and warm up in here. The current temperature, let me tell you this important detail. The ambient temperature is exactly 25 degrees Celsius.
And even though the temperature in the kitchen is quite comfortable, in the other part of the apartment, we have to dress warmer and sleep under several blankets.
Here, too, we've sealed it with plastic, and on the other side, we've blocked it with USB board. Here are also 2 blankets from Humanitarian Aid. They're warm. Here they are, the 2 blankets. There's a cozy sleeping bag and 2 warm and soft blankets in addition to that. And it's fine. The temperature is about 15 degrees overall.
In Alexander and Reisu's apartment, they have to install new windows for the 2nd time already. Last summer, Russian troops also shelled their neighborhood. Back then, the couple got through it easily. But now, with the freezing weather outside and no idea if the heating will ever be restored, people are forced to at least consider moving somewhere temporarily.
On Novi Sweat, we currently have our beloved granddaughter's apartment. She unfortunately left for Kryvyi Rih because she has 3 very young little kids.
We'll go there then.
According to the information we have, the local authorities are already working on restoring the heating supply. But until centralized heating is back in the apartments, residents are being asked to drain the water from their household plumbing fixtures. This is necessary to prevent even more damage to the equipment. Dmitro Husko from Donetsk region, reporting especially for Freedom TV channel.
1,220,000 soldiers have been lost by the Russian Federation since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. These are the estimates of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. 1,060 Russian occupiers were eliminated in the past 24 hours. Russia's equipment losses have also increased. In the past day, the defense forces destroyed 7 armored vehicles, more than 24 artillery pieces, an air defense system, and 353 drones. The Russian army also lost nearly 100 vehicles. 219 times. Over the past day, the Russians tried to break through Ukrainian defenses in 10 directions along the front. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the defense forces stopped 46 enemy attacks on the Pokrovsk bridgehead. Another 44 enemy assaults were repelled in the Huyaipol sector. In the Kostiantinovka and Alexandrivka directions, Russian occupiers launched 17 attacks each, while in the Lyman direction, the Russians assaulted Ukrainian positions 16 times. The Russian Federation Army made 9 more unsuccessful attempts to advance on the Kupiansk bridgehead.
In Kupiansk, the Russian army is experiencing a kind of Stalingrad-light. Now these remnants of Russian units holed up in buildings there and being bombed by our troops can experience everything the palace went through. In the final days of the Battle of Stalingrad, the clearing operation there is nearing its end. The thing is, we can't say exactly when it will be over because we know full well they've holed up in those basements. They're barricaded in those houses, fighting tooth and nail for them, because they've been fed propaganda that if they get captured by us, they'll be killed on the spot. I think for them, surrendering is just a matter of time or death in this freezing weather, in those stone dens.
Norway is providing Ukraine with a new aid package. This was announced by the country's foreign minister, Espen Barth Eide. Today, he arrived in Kyiv for a visit. The emergency aid from Oslo amounts to $400 million. Half of the amount will go toward purchasing gas and repairing energy infrastructure, while the rest will be used as budget support this year. They also discussed joint defense initiatives and post-war security guarantees for Ukraine with Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiga.
We firmly support the idea that as soon as a ceasefire is reached, solid security guarantees must be provided. We don't want just a ceasefire, we want a lasting peace. Ukraine must not be left alone. We are ready to do our part. Right now, we are working intensively on supplying additional ammunition and missiles, which is an urgent necessity. We are also working on developing partnerships with very talented Ukrainian weapons manufacturers. The goal is to integrate interceptors into the NASAM system, which will reduce costs. The missiles currently in use are expensive and short supply. That's why we need new types of such ammunition.
In just the past 2 years, Norway has provided Ukraine with almost $17 billion. This was reported by the head of the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Andrei Sabiga. This includes $8.3 billion in support provided by Oslo this year. The diplomat also noted Oslo's leadership in the Pearl Initiative. The Norwegian government has decided to allocate $850 million for a program to purchase American weapons for Ukraine. In addition, Ukraine and Norway are working on joint developments in the defense sector.
We plan to increase investment potential.
We plan to increase investment potential and mutually beneficial partnership, especially in the fields of defense and technology. Ukraine and Norway already have a number of joint defense projects, and today, leading Ukrainian defense companies took part in our negotiations. We see the potential for a mutually beneficial cooperation for both Norwegian and Ukrainian companies. This collaboration undoubtedly makes us stronger. Independent and with tremendous prospects, we paid special attention to the prospects of strengthening Ukrainian air defense as part of the European Air Shield, both on a bilateral basis and with the involvement of other partners. European Union countries must create a unified joint army with at least 100,000 service members. This was stated by the European Commissioner for Defense, Andrius Kubilius. He noted that such armed forces could eventually replace American troops in Europe. In addition, Kubilius proposed creating a European Security Council. According to him, the council would include the leading EU countries. Such a body would significantly speed up decision-making on defense and efforts to change the dynamics of the war in Ukraine.
I believe that it is extremely important to make this idea a reality right now. And the very first and most important task of such a council should be the issue of Ukraine. After all, without a change in strategy, the situation at the front could get worse. At the moment, there are no signs that Putin will agree to a peace plan. We need a clear answer as to how the European Union will change this scenario. And that is exactly why we need a European Security Council right now.
Putin has once again confirmed that he poses a threat to NATO. Bloomberg reports this. The publication notes that since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Russia has used one of its missile systems for the second time, with a flight speed of 13,000 kilometers per hour and multiple warheads targeting infrastructure facilities. This strike was demonstratively carried out near the border of the European Union. And this is a direct message from Putin. European leaders have drawn this conclusion, according to Bloomberg.